October 2025 marked a turning point. Agentic AI moved from theory to boardroom reality. OpenAI, Google, and global brands took decisive steps to let AI act on behalf of the enterprise. In this episode, we uncover how leadership, governance, and accountability are being rewritten, and why the age of co-agency between humans and machines has officially begun.
October 2025. Looking back, that month will probably be marked as the moment agentic AI really stepped out of the lab.
Right.
We're talking about autonomous, workflow-driven AI moving from, theory straight into the boardroom.
Yeah.
Into strategy.
Exactly. And it's a crucial shift, isn't it? We're not just talking about helpful assistants anymore.
Yeah.
These are systems designed to act on behalf of the organization.
That's the core of it. So for leaders trying to get their heads around this, our mission in this deep dive is pretty specific.
Yeah, we want to pull out 5 key stories from that period. High-stakes examples that really show AI moving from just supporting us to, proactively doing things.
Okay, but before we jump into the evidence, let's just make sure we're absolutely crystal clear on the definition. Agentic AI in the enterprise, what's the simple bottom line definition?
Well, it really boils down to 2 things, autonomy and embedding. So agentic AI means intelligent systems that can carry out defined multi-step tasks across different business areas. Think managing a complex supply chain change, maybe autonomously resolving a customer service issue.
Without a human checking every single step.
Precisely. And it's deeply embedded in core workflows. It's not just an app on your desktop.
And that shift from support to actually executing tasks, that's what triggered the dramatic reshaping of leadership, governance, and strategy we saw start bubbling up then.
Absolutely. This isn't just tweaking things. It's a structural pivot.
The big one.
And to really grasp how significant that pivot is, we've got to look at the platforms enabling it first.
Okay, right. Let's unpack the first and probably loudest signal. That huge platform pivot from OpenAI, October 6th, their focus just snaps entirely towards the enterprise customer.
Yeah, that wasn't just, a product update. It felt like a declaration of intent, aiming right for the core of enterprise operations.
And we saw those new partnerships popping up.
Exactly. High-profile, deeply integrated deals. Companies like Spotify, Zillow, Mattel. These aren't just surface-level experiments.
No.
These are major businesses starting to trust OpenAI models with their actual operational workflows.
And Sam Altman, the CEO, he was pretty direct about it, wasn't he? Saying something like, while parts of the industry might seem bubbly,
genuine value creation is underway.
Yeah.
That's a strong signal of maturity, of seriousness.
Definitely. But what really nailed the agentic ambition for me was how one executive described ChatGPT's evolution.
Yes. That was very telling. The description of it becoming a multifunctional platform resembling an operating system.
An operating system. Think about that. What does an OS do? It controls resources, manages tasks, handles communication.
It's the central brain, essentially.
So if your enterprise AI starts acting like an OS, that completely changes the strategic game. The whole build versus buy decision becomes monumental.
It really does. You're essentially deciding which digital brain will orchestrate core parts of your company's processes.
Which changes everything. IT architecture, vendor strategy.
Absolutely everything. Aligning with the platform, acting as your OS, gives you incredible speed, sure, but you're also handing over a significant amount of control.
And OpenAI is reportedly burning billions to win that top spot.
They are. So the strategic question for you, listening, becomes, how does aligning with this kind of embedded OS-like AI shift your fundamental operating model? And what new risks are you taking on for that potential speed?
That's the external platform piece, but it immediately raises the internal challenge, right?
Yeah.
If OpenAI is building the external platform.
Then Google's driving the same agentic pattern, but from the inside out.
Right. Our second story. Hot on the heels of OpenAI, October 9th, Google officially launches Gemini Enterprise.
Yep. And this was aimed squarely at mass internal deployment. Scaling AI agents not just for customers, but for every single employee.
So the idea is transforming how knowledge workers operate internally, letting them talk to company data, documents, applications.
That's the vision.
But, let's be realistic. Most big companies are running on a tangle of legacy systems. Is that promise of full interoperability actually feasible, or is it just smart marketing?
It's fair to be skeptical, definitely, but the tools they rolled out suggest they're serious about tackling that integration headache, that last-mile problem.
What kind of tools?
Well, they included a no-code workbench, that lets non-developers, citizen developers, build specific AI agents pretty quickly.
Okay.
And crucially, these agents are designed to plug into the whole corporate tech stack. Google Workspace, obviously, but also Microsoft 365, Salesforce, SAP, the big ones.
Can you give us a concrete example? Like, what's an agent doing now inside a company that a person used to slog through?
Okay, think about an accounts payable department. Right now, someone might manually compare a vendor invoice that's in one system, say SAP, against shipping data that's stuck in a completely separate logistics system.
Right. Often totally incompatible.
Exactly. So an agent built with that workbench could potentially automate that. It could autonomously pull the data from both systems, reconcile them, flag any weird discrepancies, and maybe only pass the final verification step to a human.
That's execution. That's not just finding information.
Precisely. It's doing the task.
That kind of internal scaffolding, it could dramatically speed things up. And you mentioned adoption signals are strong?
Yeah, early commitments from companies like Gap Inc., Figma, Klarna, big established players.
So they're willing to bet on this level of internal change.
It seems so. And the takeaway for you, the listener, is that this vendor battle, Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, others, it's now laser-focused on becoming the core engine of the enterprise.
Which forces some tough choices.
Absolutely. You have to weigh the strategic upside of, say, rapid deployment against the very real risks of getting locked into one vendor, or potential data sovereignty issues when an autonomous agent is handling key internal data flows.
Okay, so we've got the vendor infrastructure layer, both external and internal. Let's shift to the leadership response. Our third big story is maybe the most surprising one.
Yeah, this one definitely raised some eyebrows.
The fact that this agentic AI pattern isn't just staying in the tech sector, it's popping up in places you might not expect, like creative industries. Specifically, fashion and luxury brands.
That, for me, is the clearest signal that this change is truly strategic and universal. We suddenly saw this wave of major fashion and luxury houses appointing chief AI officers, CAIOs.
Like Lululemon Athletica bringing in Ranju Das as chief AI and technology officer.
Exactly.
But why? Why does a premium brand like Lululemon, whose whole identity hinges on brand feel, integrity, human connection, why do they need a chief AI officer? What's that person actually doing?
Well, the mandate is really complex because it has to bridge that gap between creativity and, frankly, control, governance.
Yeah.
So the CIO sets the AI vision, yes, but they also oversee governance, manage the risks, which are huge for a brand, especially around things like intellectual property.
Yeah.
And they have to lead the charge on upskilling global teams.
So it's recognizing that AI will be acting for the brand in sensitive areas.
Yes, potentially in product design, definitely in customer experience, areas where the brand's soul resides.
I remember reading some commentary on this, Karen Harvey pointing out that fashion is, well, fundamentally worried about AI.
Deeply worried.
Ooh.
Worried it could dilute the brand,
Yeah.
threaten the exclusivity, the human touch.
Right.
So her argument was you need a specific kind of leader, someone inherently creative who gets the brand, but also has the technical chops to govern these autonomous systems.
Someone who can, as she put it, keep the humanity in the brand while using AI to scale the business.
Exactly. It's fundamentally about managing the risk, ensuring the brand's essence isn't just outsourced to an algorithm.
Wow. So if luxury brands who are famously protective of their image feel they need a dedicated CAIO to manage autonomous systems,
it signals that agentic AI is now a strategic issue for almost every industry. It forces you to reevaluate your entire executive structure.
and that strategic urgency flows directly into our fourth pattern, right?
Yeah.
The massive shift needed in cybersecurity and governance.
Directly. Because when AI stops being just a tool and becomes an autonomous agent embedded deep inside, say, financial systems or core operations,
Your cybersecurity posture has to change instantly.
it has to shift from being reactive defenders at the perimeter to being strategic players in AI governance itself.
There was some unsettling data around this disconnect, wasn't there?
Yeah, that EY survey was quite stark. On the one hand, you had 90% of CISOs believing AI could positively transform cyber strategy. Huge optimism.
Okay.
But at the same time, 66%, two-thirds, felt their own organizations were significantly underestimating the cybersecurity risks related to AI.
That gap is worrying. High potential, high fear, but maybe not the right preparation. What are the specific new risks that agentic AI introduces?
Well, the attack surface just explodes in complexity. You now have these autonomous agents connecting previously separate data silos, often across incompatible systems.
Creating new vulnerabilities.
Entirely new targets. Think about adversarial attacks designed not just to steal data, but to subtly manipulate the AI's decision-making process itself.
So the AI could be tricked into doing something harmful.
Exactly. And when the AI is acting, not just advising, a manipulated agent could execute damaging commands almost instantly across the entire enterprise.
Which means the old cybersecurity model, guarding the gates, it's just not enough anymore.
It's obsolete for this threat. As one report framed it, when AI acts instead of assists, security has to become an agentic defense.
Agentic defense, what does that look like?
It means shifting focus inwards, governing the agents themselves, monitoring their decisions in real time, building in safeguards, kill switches, verification checks for the automated actions they take.
So cyber risk is no longer just an IT problem.
Not at all. It's a critical business risk that demands board-level oversight and serious investment, reflecting that heightened exposure.
And that heightened scrutiny, that board-level attention, leads us straight to our final and maybe most dramatic indicator of this agentic shift.
Accountability, right at the very top. The board and what companies are being forced to disclose publicly.
Yeah, this data point really stopped me in my tracks, the sheer increase in public risk disclosures about AI.
It's stunning. According to the Conference Board, 72% of S&P 500 companies were flagging AI as a material risk in their public filings by October 2025.
72%. Just compare that to 2023 when it was around, what, 12%?
Around 12%, yeah. You simply don't see that kind of jump unless there's been a fundamental structural change in how risk is perceived.
And it proves AI has moved decisively from the sort of innovation sandbox onto the core risk register.
Absolutely. And the term material risk is key here. That's a legal term.
Right. It has consequences.
Big ones. Once a public company declares a risk material, it signals potential financial impact, legal liability. Investors rely on management's ability to control it. The company is now on the hook publicly for managing that AI risk.
And the accountability is climbing the ladder. Nearly half of companies specifically mentioning AI risk as part of board oversight now.
That's right. The board is demanding answers, demanding transparency about what these autonomous systems are doing.
So the C-suite needs proof. They need data.
They need hard metrics. When AI is acting for the organization, making decisions that move money, interact with sensitive customer data leaders, have to have the right metrics, the right internal expertise, and, crucially, really robust disclosure frameworks.
Someone has to own the outcome.
Someone has to be accountable for what the agent does. Officially.
So pulling all these threads together, the platform pivots, the internal adoption push, the new leadership roles like CAIOs, the expanding cyber risk, this escalating board accountability, it all paints one very clear picture, doesn't it?
It synthesizes into a single pattern. Agentic AI isn't just another product. It's not an easy software update.
No.
It's a fundamental change in how organizations operate.
It's heading towards co-agency. Humans and machines sharing responsibility for critical outcomes.
That seems to be the direction. The platforms are here, the internal scaffolding is going up, the new leaders are being hired, the legal and governance structures are scrambling to catch up with the risk.
It feels like an entire ecosystem pivot happening incredibly fast, almost in a matter of weeks back in October.
It really does feel that way.
Right.
Which leads us to the final thought, the provocative question we want to leave you, the listener, with.
Yeah.
It's no longer if AI will take action on behalf of your organization. That ship has sailed.
Right. That's subtle.
The real question now is, how much control, how much responsibility, how much autonomy are you truly willing to grant it before it potentially acts in a way you never, ever intended?